What's going on, everybody? My name is Eric. I love film. And today I'm going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie that we've all been waiting for. Exciting times. It's been delayed 6 months. The visual effects, everything, we've heard of it. It's finally out. Sonic the Hedgehog is out. Gamers unite. Gamers rise up. It is here. All right, so my initial reaction was, I thought it was pretty bland. I thought it was a pretty bland movie. Pretty uninspired. It was a very, it reeked of corporate desperation. Lacked a lot of soul. I'm not a huge Sonic fan. Don't hate me for that, all you Sonic lovers. I'm a gamer. Gamers unite, right? I'm a big gamer, but this movie didn't feel like it drew a lot from the games. The beginning of the movie, it's saying like Green Hills. We'll get into that, but he's at the island. That's all there really is. There's rings in the game. Everything else, it's like the creators didn't watch, or not watch, it's like the creators of this movie didn't play any of the games, and then they, all right, let's make a movie. This movie felt like a money grab. That's the word. It felt like a big money grab. This is the best grossing movie from Paramount since the summer of 2018. So this is a big win for them. So yeah, kudos to Paramount. So the VFX team was rushed. This movie was delayed approximately 6 months, and they worked the hell out of this movie. I want to give kudos to the VFX team for sure. The visual effects weren't great at all, but with Paramount puppet corporate overlord hanging upon their shoulders, they did the best they could. And I think in the industry, it is tough. The visual effects improvement doesn't add too much because the plot is just so thin, like paper thin plot. Very disappointed in that. No depth at all. I know it's a fantasy movie, but there's just zero lack of realism. Not even like realism. Like I know it's a fantasy movie with a hedgehog that's powerful and can just run at like ultralight speeds, but I feel like their decision making, the characters in this movie aren't thinking. There's zero logic. That's where the realism falls apart. Like the human characters lack critical thinking, and that's what makes this movie so tough for me to digest. And let's go back to the prologue. The prologue tells us little, very little, like little to nothing. So he's raised by an owl. I forget her name, but he's raised by this owl for some mysterious reason. I don't think there was an owl in any of the games, unless I'm clearly forgetting something, because it was bizarre. Like this just threw me off. He was on this island alone, like an orphan, and these creatures, I forget exactly what, they had like spears. They're trying to take him down, steal him for his powers, because Sonic is like ultra powerful. You know, very cliche, very generic, and that's about it. She has like the bag of rings that we all know and love from the games. She's like, take these rings, use them to go across these worlds whenever you're in danger. So that's it. That's the intro. That's literally it. He uses the rings. He goes to some world. Portal closes, and you assume that she's dead. His mom, his guardian, whatever. And he's the only one, which is weird too, because obviously the games, there's multiple. There's Tails, there's Knuckles, there's Shadow. You know, there's Amy, whatever. There's only Sonic. But yeah, you don't really know anything at all. And because of that, you have zero attachment to Sonic. And especially if you played zero Sonic games, you're going to have zero attachment. It's trying to draw from this very thin line of emotion that you should care for Sonic because he lost his island, he lost his owl mom or whatever. But you don't really feel that. It just falls apart. It crumbles. There's no base. There's no base there for the emotion. So the whole movie, it just kind of drags on because you're not connected to Sonic at all. The whole bucket list thing was rough. I don't know why. Like, I understand, like, he's leaving Earth because he's in danger. He pretty much sets off this, like, electro whatever that causes, like, half of the U.S. to lose their power. And then the government wants to go after him. Robotnik, which is Jim Carrey, which I think his character is poorly written. I think Jim Carrey's funny. Like, his facial expressions are funny. I'll give him that. But I don't know. It was very forced. His humor really only hits for kids. And even then, not even, at least for me, my theater had a bunch of kids. Not even the kids laughed, really. I know I'm not the only one that thought the humor was a big miss. Like, honestly, 19 out of the 20 jokes just fell flat. It's just not great. There's really nothing much to rave home about this movie. James Marsden, the character, he's, I guess, the best thing about this film. He's like this police officer that Sonic befriends, and they pretty much, this movie's kind of like a buddy, not a buddy cop, but like a buddy comedy, because they have a little road trip from Green Hills, Montana to San Francisco, which is essentially the plot of this movie, and they make stops along the way. I guess, yeah, no, he's definitely the best thing about this film, because there's little to anything else, and I give him a lot of praise. And I actually thought he had some really, decent acting moments. And if the script was better, I think we would see him shine through more. He did a good job. He did a pretty good job. I do actually like him and his wife. One thing, a big plot hole that I had with this movie was, so as I was saying, he has to get from Montana to San Francisco because he lost his rings there. So long story short, okay, he clearly runs there in this one scene, but he's lost. He goes straight west, right, to the Pacific Ocean. Okay, makes sense. He doesn't know where he's going. But we see in scenes throughout the movie, he can pretty much pause time. That bar scene and that scene on the roof, later on when they're in San Francisco, he can pause time. So why doesn't he just essentially pause time, go get a map, multiple maps, study up, find out where San Francisco is, follow the highway, because they just drive there clearly, get there, get his rings. That's it. Because you might be thinking, oh, he can only run fast. He can't like process everything fast. Wrong. There are scenes in this very movie, in this very universe. He's reading comic books at a rapid speed. He's clearly processing this, understanding, being entertained by these comic books. He has this one scene, which is really weird. He is like his own therapist. So clearly, and it's a plot device. Like he processes his emotions. He's feeling lonely, so he has this therapist moment where he's thinking things through. So clearly he can think at a very rapid speed. It's not just physical. So I don't get why he doesn't just run wherever, get maps, get all the materials, resources that he needs, find out where San Francisco is, and just go there. Like there's no point for him to be sitting in a car going 60, 80 miles per hour. Just doesn't make any sense, and the whole movie relied on that, which is rough. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking too much about this movie. I shouldn't be taking this movie too seriously, but I'm just pointing out the plot holes. I know this movie shouldn't be taken too seriously, and it's entertainment, but for me, like I said, the jokes fall flat. Also, one thing about the speed thing, how come he doesn't just destroy Dr. Robotnik? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's like the scene where it's in the trailer, it's paused, and he like takes out all the rockets. He does like superhuman things, pretty much invincible. Yeah, a lot of plot holes. There's very little redeeming quality. I think Schwartz's voice acting of Sonic was solid. Some jokes were decent, but overall of the missed. CGI wasn't anything great, like not even close. I think it's one of the worst actually of the year. I know the year just started, but I think this will be one of the worst. And like I said, I give them credit because they had a short time frame to redo a lot of things. But in the end result is decent. And I'm not blaming the artists, I'm blaming Paramount. But yeah, Sonic overall, Sonic the Hedgehog, can't recommend it. Definitely can't recommend it. Not even to the biggest Sonic fan. In fact, if you're a big Sonic fan, I'm sure you're actually more disappointed because it felt like a very Hollywood adaptation, just very disconnected and just very in it for the money. So overall, I'm not pleased. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this review, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. I'm going to be creating some more reviews on this channel. We're just getting started, and hopefully I see some better movies because this was a drag. All right. Thanks, guys.